Back at Hayward Field, campus of the University of Oregon, the 1995 Prefontaine Classic. Vern Lundquist, Craig Masbach, joined by Mike Fowle and Michelle Tafoya. And we're getting ready now for the men's 400 meters. The world American record holder, he set it 7 years ago, Butch Reynolds, 43:29. Maxie Parks has the meet record, which goes back some 19 years. And Butch Reynolds is in this race.
Butch Reynolds, a veteran now at age 30.
Only for 4 more days.
A little problem with his blocks. He's calling for some assistance on that, and he's had bigger troubles over the last few years as he's battled track and field's establishment, and we talked to him about that and how he feels that Prefontaine was someone who also battled the track and field establishment. It's been hard, he said, to shake off the memories of what he went through.
Among others in this race, he's competing with Derek Mills, who will graduate from Georgia Tech with an engineering degree next week. He talked about running the 400 meters.
When you run a 400, the main thing is you have to combine speed and endurance, and you have to. It's almost running at top speed, and you know you're going to hurt the last 75, the last 100 meters of the race, but it's all guts then, and a lot of people don't run the 400 because of that. They shy away from running the 400, but I think every 400 meter runner learns to deal with that pain.
I know I shied away from the 400 meters, also shied away from organic chemistry. That was the last exam he took just on Wednesday. So Derek Mills, a scholar and an athlete at the same time. What's interesting is he's the youngest in the field, but he's the most feared. Had an outstanding year last year, NCAA champion, but this year he seems to be right back on top. He won the recent New York Games.
Men's 400 meter.
It's really a top field, top to bottom in this race. Jason Rouser will be in lane 2, one of the tallest 400 meter runners. He was 5th at that New York Games. Darnell Hall, the world indoor champion at 400 meters, an outstanding runner. Quincy Watts, the Olympic champion at 400 meters back in 1992. He's on the comeback trail after a couple of down years.
He's really trying to regain form, isn't he? Is he close to being back?
I think he still has some giant steps to take, but he's working with Bobby Kersey, and he really believes in himself again. And he says he feels an urgency that he hasn't felt since 1992. Quincy Watts was just on top of the world in all respects in 92. He says he's worked his way back towards feeling that he can do it, and it's a 2-year project. He wants to be ready for Atlanta. And we didn't even mention Danny Everett, who's one of the fastest 400 meter runners of all time. He's in this race. Ran that 43:81 back at the Olympic trials in 1992. He was the bronze medalist in the '88 Olympics, of course, a gold medalist on the 4x4. Michael Johnson not in this race as we take a look at Danny Everett, but Butch Reynolds is, Quincy Watts is, Danny Everett is also in the race. Derek Mills told us he'd like to break the 44-second barrier this year. That would put him on that all-time list.
Darnell Hall runs in lane 3. Young man from Detroit, the 1995 World Indoor Champion.
There's Reynolds. He feels he's ready to start running the way he used to, which was a characteristic burst around the far turn.
Hall in 3, Watts in 4, Mills in 5, Everett in 6, Reynolds in 7.
Vern Mills said it well. One of the hardest things about this race is to sprint around that first turn knowing you're going to run out of gas in the home stretch. It takes a lot of courage, and Mills is out quickly.
Darnell Hall has an early lead now as they head down the backstretch. Darnell Hall from Detroit running in lane 3.
Putting a lot of pressure on Watts. Mills also running well.
Derek Mills, Darnell Hall, and Quincy Watts. And here they come down the backstretch. Darnell Hall in lane 3. Derek Mills in lane 5. It's Hall and Mills, and here comes Derek Mills. Mills overtakes Hall, and Derek Mills has won it.
44:13, incredible time if it holds up. It'll be the fastest in the world this year. And it's funny, I told him, you know, the week that Sebastian Coe finished his college career, his last exam, he set a world record at 800 meters. He said, well, maybe that'll help me run a good 400 meters. Sure enough, he did.
Take a look at the last 80 meters, and Derek Mills, fresh from an organic chemistry examination, taking the measure of Darnell Hall.
A little bit of an experiment, perhaps. He laid off around the turn. Let Darnell Hall take command around that last turn. But what an amazing finish for the man from DeMatha High School. He told us he got cut from the basketball team in 9th grade. Maybe that's track's great fortune, as Derek Mills takes it up yet another notch in the 400 meters.
Legendary basketball coach at DeMatha, Morgan Wooten, was his history teacher, but it didn't help when it came to keep him on the basketball team. Derek Mills is the winner of the men's 400, official time of 44.13. Darnell Hall second, Butch Reynolds third, the 200 meter when we come back.